Well, first of all, it's really exciting to be here for the 14th time in my career. This event seems to always sort of kick off excitement for the college football season, and no matter how much you prepare and how much you practice and how much you watch film, this sort of makes you feel like the world is really interested in what you're doing, and it's going to be a real challenging year. And it makes you realize the extent of the competition that you have in the league. So this makes the season. This starts the season, whether we've started games or not. And you all contribute to that because of your interest in the way you promote college football. From our team standpoint, you know, they're doing great. We've had a great summer with our team. The work ethic, the attitude, the leadership, the togetherness that we seem to have seems to be good. But I think these things only get challenged when you come up with tough circumstances, and that's certainly something that our season will provide for us, and how our team responds and reacts to all that will determine to a large degree how much success we can have. I think we've talked about some of the issues we have on offense in terms of the number of good players that we lost and the challenges that we have in replacing those players. Even though we have some very talented guys that don't have the same level of experience, that have a chance to take advantage of that opportunity, whether it's at quarterback, receiver, a few offensive line positions. Defensively, we have a lot more starters back. The challenge is defensively is to get off the field better on third down, do a better job with turnovers, and don't give up as many explosive plays, especially the way we did at the end of the season, which contributed to the number of points we gave up. And we have some outstanding specialists, so hopefully that'll be the start of having some good special teams.
We'll start up front, right here to the left.
Hunter Mandel with Bleacher Report. Coach, what's the motto going into 2015? You know, what's going to be different about this season?
When you say motto, well, I think it's important because we didn't do a good job last year of finishing the season, that we've talked a lot in the offseason about finishing, but we've also talked to the players a lot about hard work, better preparation, because we didn't finish the season very well. Like, you know, chopping wood and carrying water, you know, it's just hard work. And I think to prepare for the kind of season that we're going to have, the kind of schedule that we're going to have, is certainly the preparation that your team has for the season is going to be very important to being able to sustain, you know, the standard that you need to sustain throughout the season to play with consistency. So that's kind of where we're at with our team.
Raise your hand and we'll get a mic to you.
Hey, Coach. Sheldon Haygood, Fox 6 here in town. You've talked about Kenyan Drake before. In the spring, he was able to do some things, really not necessarily the contact issue. I don't think that was something you really want to do, but he's had the offseason now to continue to get stronger. Talk about him going into the season and what he means being a senior and what he can do for this team.
Well, I think Kenyan Drake is a great example of, you know, a guy that's matured in the program to become what we all want a college football player to represent. He's had his issues in the past, but he's showing great maturity personally in becoming a leader on our team and being, in fact, you know, one of the guys on the leadership council on our team. And incidentally, you know, he said, I never thought I'd make it here. But that just shows the kind of maturity and development and support that we've sort of given him so that he could develop into being that kind of person. Academically, he's going to graduate in 3.5 years, and as a football player, he's got tremendous playmaking ability. I think he's 100%. He was making a lot of plays for us last year prior to his injury, and we're hopeful that as a runner and as a receiver, he'll be a guy that becomes a tremendous playmaker and have a lot of impact on making a lot of big plays for us this year.
Here to your left.
Coach, you talked a little bit, Tony Cornish Jr., WTVY, you talked a little bit about toughness at the line of scrimmage and how you hope to improve in that area. Talk about that, what you've done, what your coaching staff has done to try to elevate that level of play in that area?
You know, it's interesting that we set records last year on offense. Passing, total offense, points. I'm talking about records all time. But yet, you know, there was something that we lost in doing that. You know, before we would just line up and, you know, physically dominate the line of scrimmage, and the other team knew what we were going to do. That was really not a secret, but they really couldn't stop us. So even though we had much more balance on offense, much more diversity, I think we lost a little bit of that. And I think it's important that we sort of gain that back so that we're a physical, relentless, competitive type team that nobody wants to play, and we play with that kind of toughness, because that's been the trademark. That's been what's helped us sort of have the success that we've had to this point. So I'm a little apprehensive about, you know, giving up that quality and not having that identity as a team, especially in a league that is sort of built on, you know, those kind of intangibles.
Nick, Carl Prather, WFF 48 in Huntsville. Your thoughts on Reggie Ragland from when he arrived in Tuscaloosa through his progression throughout the last couple of years to where he is now as being one of your leaders on your defense?
Well, you know, Reggie came to us as a guy that played mostly outside linebacker and defensive end in high school, so he never really played inside backer before, and we worked hard to develop him as an inside backer, and in the beginning it was a little bit of a work in progress, but last year and this year he has been a fantastic player for us, and probably one of the highest rated players at his position in the country. He's also become a leader, you know, on our team. I think the team is important to him, and I think playing for Alabama is really important to him, and that's probably why he came back, you know, for this year. And we're excited about not only his opportunity to make plays that he has always taken advantage of, but also his leadership and personality, and, you know, affecting our defensive players to play at a high level on a consistent basis.
Stay over here to the right.
Hey, Nick, to your right. Chris Price, WBRZ Sports 2 in Baton Rouge. You and Les Miles both continue to take a bye week before that LSU-Alabama game. What does it say about the importance of that game, the preparation needed to get ready for that game?
Well, you know, I don't think it's our choice that we necessarily take a bye week then. It's the way it kind of works out on the schedule and when we can schedule games. But I do think at that point in the season, when we play this game, the first weekend in November, and it's become because of the quality of their program, this has become sort of a game that people look to. I know our players look to it, their players look to it. So to have a bye week before that game, to have a little time to recruit, to recover, and a little extra prep time probably, you know, contributes to a real physical game that we usually have. So. But I think it's a tribute to their staff, their players, and the job that our staff and our players do. That game is always a special, you know, competitive venue, regardless of where we play.
Coach Steve Nissom, WEAR Pensacola. Last year when Jacob Coker came in the fall, didn't have a lot of time to get acclimated to your system. Now that he's been in the program for a year, what kind of differences are you seeing in him?
Well, I don't think there's any question about the fact that it was tough for Jake to make the transition a year ago, not having been in spring practice. And I think Jake is a lot more confident, you know, now, has a much better understanding of what's expected of him and what he needs to do to lead the offense. And I think it's just a matter of him being able to go out now and process the information, make the kind of decisions that's going to allow him to play winning football at that position on a consistent basis. And we've been really pleased with his progress, and we're looking forward to, you know, how he does in fall camp.
Hey, Coach, Hannah Chalker with Crimson Tide Productions. Going off that question, talk about maybe some of the other quarterbacks that are kind of gaining on Jake in that battle going on.
Well, you know, all the quarterbacks have made progress. All of them have improved. You know, David Cornwell played well in the spring. showing a lot of maturity, very bright guy, has a good understanding of what we want to do and how we want to do it, and talented passer. You know, Eric Morris has probably been in the system longer than anybody. He's also a very bright guy that did a nice job in spring practice. Cooper Bateman has been in the program and is probably the most athletic of the bunch. And, you know, hopefully the consistency in his passing will allow him to be a guy that has an opportunity to win the job. And, you know, Blake Barnett is a freshman who has great promise, can run, is athletic, has a good arm, but it's just a matter of how quickly is he going to mature to be able to take the responsibility and be able to do it on a consistent basis.
Jen Chapman, WVUA. Kenyan Drake mentioned how he's grown as a player and matured under you, and that's a common theme we hear with all your players, especially at the end of the year. For you, coming in 2007, how have you grown and changed as a coach?
Well, you know, I think that I learn from the players, you know, all the time. I think caring about the players is why I enjoy being a coach, and I don't think the players really care what you know until they know that you care, and I think that's an important part of leadership, because every player wants his coach to know how he's doing. I mean, that's just, and you got to have relationships to do that. But I think that using other people that have expertise in whether it's psychological disposition or motivation or personal development and behavioral issues are all things that we do more of now that has, I think, helped and enhanced the chances of our players developing personally, academically, and athletically like we'd like for them to. And I really feel good about the team that we have that does that. But you have to be willing as a coach to give up some of the control and allow people to do these things with your players and trust, you know, those people and trust your players. And I think that's something that I've gotten a little better at.
Hey, Nick, to your right, you've had this run of 10-win seasons going back to 2008. Is it possible, as long as the guys buy in, prepare the right way, to never really have a down season?
At Alabama. Did you hear the story I told in the other room? Now, I was at the lake this summer, and we're eating at the Marina, which is just a hamburger place called La Prad's, and it's in Georgia at Lake Burton. And the nicest couple, I mean the nicest older couple you're ever going to meet, come up and say, "We're Alabama folks. We graduated from Alabama. Would you take a picture with us?" So I said, "Sure, I'd love to." So I get up and take a picture with them, and you know, when that's all over, nicest people in the world, the lady who is elderly puts her hand on my shoulder and says, "Maybe we'll win next year." So do you think we can have a bad season in Alabama?
What does it say about the standard that you set there, and is there pressure to continue?
Well, you know, the pressure for me comes from me. The pressure comes from trying to get our team to be the best team that they can be, and every individual on the team reaching their full potential, playing well together, so the units are offense, defense, special teams, you know, all competing and playing at a high level. So, you know, that's the challenge for me. It doesn't come externally from expectations or anybody else. You know, we have a goal. We have a process of how we need to do things so that we can reach that goal, and we all have to stay focused and disciplined on being able to do the things on a daily basis to execute that. And that sounds pretty simple, but it's pretty challenging, and that's certainly our motivation and what we want to accomplish. And I want to do it for our players.
Nick, Rick Carley here, Fox 6. Is this
We're
cool?
over here first.
Okay, sorry, my bad.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Coach Craig Horton from Mississippi Sports Today. We hear you and other coaches use the word compete and competitor a lot in these meetings. What is that definition vary, do you think, from coach to coach, and how do you define that to your incoming players?
Well, you know, I think everybody has a vision about what a competitor is to you, everyone in this room. And I think that everybody really has special, probably, admiration for someone who's a great competitor. But to me, a great competitor it's important that they have pride to be the best that they can be, and that they're never affected by any situation. And probably the only issue that they have is they love to win, and they want to do everything they can to contribute so that their team can have success. And regardless of circumstance, they don't give in to that. So it's something that I have a tremendous amount of respect for. I mean, I know you all know Kristen just got married, but when she started to date when she was 15, when the boys came to the door, that's the first thing I asked. I said, "What do you play?" I want to know if the guy could compete. Now, Kristen didn't like that question too much, but that was important to Dad. All these ladies here don't want to hear that out of their dad.
Hey, Nick, Rick Carley here. You mentioned Lake Burton. Kristen got married. You've been honing your golf game, busy with a car dealership. Have you learned to relax a little bit more out of football season, and how have you changed down through the years in that respect?
I think it's important that you learn how to create balance, but I still love what I do. I still love being involved in every aspect of what we do. I'm not away from what I do any more than I've ever been. I just think that the time that I'm away, I manage better. I relax more. I used to go on vacation and all I did was work. Now, sometimes I go on vacation and don't work all the time. So, but I still love what I do, and I'm involved, and the most important thing to me is our football team and our players, our coaches, our organization, trying to do the best that we can for our fans and our university to have a first-class program, and that's the most important thing. And you know, that's not something that you can be relaxed and do a good job at. And we're going to continue to do the best we can so that we can have a high-quality standard program.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.